nothing. Six pack
All right.
Lapadat. We got Demir Hamza. Am I pronouncing that properly?
Demir Hamza in English. That's
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, close enough, right? Um, and we were just talking about, well, first off, you were telling me, uh, you were saying, oh, like, I asked you if you'd done a podcast before, and you said, yeah, I did one a year ago. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, you were 16 and you just started. Talk about things moving fast. So you were 16 years old and had a supplement company had approached you, and you just had a
Yeah.
couple of competitions. And I'm like, how? And they're like, you said they saw something in you already.
That's the thing, yeah. Other companies look forward to like having a specific reach already, but they were like, yeah, we're seeing something there, and just said, yeah, let's sponsor him. And they're also pretty known in the German speaking countries, so I just
Mm.
went for it. And by that time, I had already two meets, and yeah, they were like, let's do it. So yeah,
Okay, so this is how crazy this is. You had two competitions out, like on your open powerlifting. I don't think it's got all of your meets, but I think by because you were like you hit 734 as a sub junior 105 in 2022. Either way, it's not the point is like for them to have known this fucking guy's gonna be something someday. And boom, you end up like they got lucky. They got they got lucky. Whoever's in that company and is like, I think this guy's got a future. Other people in the company are like, dog, he's 16. He's got two competitions. Slow down. He's like, no, 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 no. Now he probably walks into the boardroom like, I told you. I
yeah.
told you. I
Yeah,
mean,
as
it's
I said,
crazy.
it's everything was like really quick. I got in powerlifting, did my first meet, and then I just hit, I don't know, I think my first meet I hit like 680. And then 3 months after that, we had nationals here where I hit I don't know, 730, 730-ish something. And after that nationals, they pretty much contacted me. So I went for that. And
Mm.
after that, I had Euros, the European Championships, and there I just bring back gold. So it was a pretty solid decision for them, I think, too. So
Well, like, okay, just putting in perspective right off the bat, like we'll double back and talk about how you got into powerlifting, etc. But just to put in perspective, you're 17 years old, a 105, and you just did 836.5 at the junior or sub junior worlds. And if you look at historically what 836.5 would have done in 2019 in the open, 855 won gold. And
really,
855 won gold, 841 silver. Just to show you some historical perspective, you dog, you're 17.
I didn't,
Okay,
I didn't, I
it's
didn't even
it's
live there in
because
that time.
you were barely born at the time. It's crazy. And you like on your deadlift as well. Like you almost locked out. You would have thrown like 27 kilos on your deadlift for your final. That's 27 kilos that could have been on your total or whatever. Let me take a look at the stats here. Let's
There's
pull up.
actually a lot that happened in the background there with like
Is it?
deadlift and everything. Yeah, a lot actually with the competition
Okay,
itself.
you know what? Let's talk about it a bit. But I just wanted to, just for people who are tuning in, because obviously I've been reposting you. We did a stats show on just comparing the juniors of this year to the juniors in the open of other years. That was me and Rory, and we mentioned you and talked about how your total would have held up against the open in previous years. And then we just finished recording Junior Worlds recap show, and we only gave highlights the sub juniors. And obviously, you made the highlights mention. But so people now, by the time this podcast drops, will have heard about you several times on the podcast and seen you all over the internet and are like, who the fudge? Like this kid's 17 and he's coming out of nowhere. But coming into this world championships, let's get into the background of it. But your training, my friend, your training coming into this was absolutely insane. And you and one of your boys, I don't know who it is, but the energy you guys bring in the gym, dog, you guys are like rock and roll like it's a mash
Oh
pit.
yeah, that's my friend Simon. Yeah,
Dude,
like sessions with him are really cool. Yeah,
it's amazing,
uh,
man.
yeah.
It's crazy high energy.
Yeah, about the roles, it was like it wasn't like the things like I didn't hit the things that I actually wanted to hit. So because like in the prep, as you mentioned, I did way more, but I also had to change equipment. So that's also a factor that
Mm,
goes into that. So I was
yeah.
I was doing like my prep with other sleeves, yeah, and then like a in my last week of peaking, I got the package, like the SPD package, and I had to wear that, yeah, which were fine, I would say.
Mhm.
But it's just like the difference that I had to make like two weeks out or so. That's a thing, and I just had like 3 sessions or so, and then went into walls. Yeah, it was still all right. I adjusted pretty quick, but it still took some kilos out, and just the confidence I would say on the squat, uh, yeah, and on bench, yeah. I went for a world record, but I didn't get it. So it was actually my left foot slipped and my left erector cranked really hard. So
Mm.
yeah,
And what
and
about okay? Well, first off, do you cut like how tall are you?
183. That's like 6 foot, I think.
You're about 6 foot. Okay, and you're
Yeah,
105, so you're walking around about 230 pounds. Like for a 17-year-old being, and you're jacked. I mean, you're not chubby. You being 6 foot 230 at 17, dog. Like this is freaky for a high school kid.
yeah.
This-
Like my weight usually is at around 107, 108, I would say.
mm,
Right now I'm having about 108.3. So I always do like a gut and water cut and then get into it, but I don't like, dehydrate myself too much. Yeah. But like in this meet, my weigh-in was at 7 a.m. So this was pretty harsh actually. And my meet was at like 9 a.m. And actually I didn't make my first weigh-in on that day.
Damn. Okay. So
Yeah.
first off,
Oh.
you're a big 105er. You're a huge 17-year-old. I correct myself. You're not 230. You're like 235, 240 ish range.
Yeah.
That's dude. You're huge. First off, for a 17-year-old kid. So yeah. So what happened with the weigh-ins?
So pretty much I did my gut cut and water cut, and on the meet day there was like a scale, yeah, and that scale was, I don't know why, 500 grams off, yeah, and then I went up to the scale, it said 104.8, yeah, and then we go into the weigh room, yeah, with like my head coach and everything, and it says like 105.3, and I'm like,
God,
oh damn,
the
okay,
feeling you get, the
yeah.
feeling you get when that happens.
Yeah, I just put on some sweaters. Yeah, I went up and down the stairs there. Like it was like three things. I went up and down. I sweated a lot. I also spit a bit into like a thing,
Yeah.
and from there on, it took me like half an hour to get into 104.9. Yeah,
Oh my
and
God.
and after that, I only had like 20 minutes until I had to be in the weight room, on the warm up room. Yeah,
Mm.
and so I just drink something. I just drink some electrolytes, carbs, salts, and I didn't even eat something, and then went to the warm up room already. So it was pretty harsh, like pretty hard. Uh, so yeah, it is what it is, I
When you,
think.
it is what it is. Like obviously, all's well that ends well. When you showed up there, because of all the hype that's been happening, I mean, the on social media, man, you're blowing up. Everybody was like, not only are the lifts that you're doing insane, even if you're in the open, but you being 17. When people read that and see that on the video or read it in the caption, it's crazy. And then the energy you're bringing with you and your boy Simon is like, I think you guys are going to come down to the side of a wrestling ring and you're professional wrestlers and you're going to tag team match somebody because you guys are like yelling at each other and some banging each other in
Yeah,
the chest. Like it's crazy. It's wild. It's heavy hype. It's perfect to blow up and get sent around. Like, look at these kids. Look what they're fucking doing. It's crazy. So the
yeah,
hype coming into Worlds. Did you feel like, did you feel that hype? Did you feel expectation on you? Did you feel like, oh my God, everyone's watching? What was it like?
So I definitely had some stress, I would say, that I have to perform because I knew like a lot of like some people would watch, you know. So I definitely had some stress there. And also like the last 2 weeks before the competition was pretty stressful for myself. Yeah. So like my last peaking session, like my last SPD session, my last week of peaking wasn't the best actually because I just had a
Mm,
lot of going on. Yeah. And I also had to make the switch in that time of like the sleeves and everything, you know. So there were just a lot of factors in like the last 2 weeks, yeah, where I didn't have like the 110% mentality, yeah, for
mm,
roles. Even though it was my first roles, but I just had other focuses in that time. So we just went to roles, and actually a lot of people went up to me and talked to me, you know, and I was like, dude, that's crazy, you know. That I was feeling like, bro, you
yeah,
know.
how do you know me? I know, like, yeah, you don't know what it's like because your day-to-day life will feel entirely normal and everything is online on your phone. Like
Yeah,
you could walk around in your day-to-day life, people aren't necessarily going to stop you. They just know you from your day-to-day. And everything that like the community that's following you, that's blowing up when it's thousands of likes and thousands of views, is all just on your phone. It's not even real. It's almost like you
yeah,
put your phone down and look at the rest of life and it's normal. So it doesn't fully click it. You pick your phone up, it's blowing up. You put your phone down and you walk to the store, nobody's stopping you. You go to school, nobody's say what it is, right?
yeah,
But you show up at a competition and all of a sudden people are stopping you. Let's take a picture. Let's talk. Oh my God, you're the
yeah,
guy. And you're like, oh my God. If you're not used to it,
yeah. The feeling is pretty cool actually. Like from around the world, that's the thing. Like it's just not like from a country or something, but it's like from around the world, from Japan to the Ireland, Netherlands, everything. Yeah, from around the world. That's like the really cool thing, you know. Yeah, it's
yeah,
the feeling is crazy, actually.
I can't imagine being 17 years old and experiencing this. I mean, previous generations wouldn't, not in powerlifting, because we wouldn't have the social media to make something like this happen. And for
Yeah.
you at only 17. So before you got to the world championships and before people were stopping you, did it fully dawn on you people all over the world are watching? Because you saw like how many comments you get, the likes you get, the shares you get. But
So
did you fully sink in like, oh my God.
like for me, it's like at the end of the day, it's just like numbers on my phone, as you said. It's just like I go on over to my phone, just like some numbers. Yeah. Even though
Right.
I know it's like 1,000 people saw that video and maybe liked or something. That's actually pretty cool because if you imagine like 1,000 people in front of you, it would be totally different, you know. But at the end of the day, it's just like some numbers. And I actually don't like to focus on numbers that much. I did my content before. I'm doing my content now. It just stays the same, you know. So I don't
Mm.
like to change myself because of numbers or anything.
Well, I mean, now you're getting like 10,000 likes or whatever. Like you put 10,000 people in a room, dog, it's not a room, it's a stadium.
Yeah, that's
I
actually
mean,
the
and you're 17, you know,
thing.
that's where it's, when you think about it that way, yeah. So you show up, it's not fully clicking and now it is. People are stopping you. And this is before you did your thing. This is before the hypes, really gotten going. You have a hiccup at the weigh-in, and there's nothing worse. And the worst thing about retaining water when you're trying to lose water is cortisol.
Yeah.
When your cortisol levels rise, because your stress rises, like you get stressed out, so cortisol levels rise. It's all natural. But when your cortisol levels rise, your body actually retains water. It makes it more difficult to lose water. So it gets tough, man. It like
Yeah.
your coaches will that's why your coaches immediately once you miss and you have like an hour or whatever to get to hit. First thing your coaches are doing are like relax, calm down, everything's okay. They don't want you super stressed because it just makes it harder and harder. But
Like
there's nothing like starting that.
even after the first weigh-in, like my stress levels, like after the first weigh-in when he said, yeah, he's not in, I was like, okay, my waltz is done. I was feeling like that, you know? And then my head coach was like, all right, man, we're gonna do this. Let's go wear this and this, go up and down, take it slowly, we got time, blah blah blah. And then we just made it. But like at that time, like at that fraction of time, I was feeling everything just falling apart, actually, like after the first weigh in. And after that, but actually a lot of people didn't make the weigh in on that day. Like from the
Really?
93s, yeah, because the scale there was just showing less 500 grams. So they were looking out for that scale. And then when they went to the official scale where they had to make the official weigh in, it was actually showing 500 grams more, you know.
So to be clear, so that scale you're talking about was at the venue. This wasn't a scale you brought with you. It was at the venue for people to test their weight.
It was at the venue where you could also put up like your rack height, your safety height, and everything.
Ah, frig.
Actually,
That usually doesn't happen.
yeah,
Usually that scale that's at the venue is exactly either the same scale they're going to use or calibrated the same and they've
it
already
was
tested it.
yeah, it was a different scale, 100%. It looked way different. But yeah, it is what it is.
Dude, talk about talk about scaring the heck out of a bunch of sub junior high school kids by being like they traveled around the world to compete. They got all their friends and family watching, and they show up as like, yeah, you're not gonna lift. You didn't make it. And you're like, oh my God. And there's a lot of things that lifters prep for mentally. Like you tell yourself, like, all right, if I miss a lift, not the end of the world. I could do this, that, or the other.
Yeah,
It's still going to be tough, but you're used to missing lifts. Very few people have ever missed weight at an international competition. When you miss weight at a local meet, for anyone listening, you can still lift. You can even lift a weight class up if you have to. If it's international, you miss weight, you just don't lift. Like you go
yeah,
home. That's dude, that is terrible. All the hype, all the people that are so excited about you. Can you imagine making that post? Being like that's a nightmare. Being okay, I'm gonna post. Sorry guys. I didn't make it. I didn't make weight.
that
I don't know what to tell you. I'll see you at Euros.
actually I've had some like in that moment I had everything going through my head, like
Right.
everything from the worst to best situation, everything. Like in that like 10 seconds where you said, yeah, you didn't make it. Yeah. But we still for sure had time, like I think for until like 8:30 or something, for like half an hour before the meet starts, you have time to make the weigh in.
Right.
But in that time I was like, all right, I'm not gonna like there were so many thoughts in your head in that moment, and to have to post something like this would be pretty harsh, pretty hard.
Nightmare, dog. I seen it when Leah Bavois in 2022 missed weight, and like she's in the open. She's like, she's already won worlds, and for her it was like an incredibly stressful situation.
Yeah,
I seen it. And that's like, Leah Bavois. She's been around the block, done all this all before, like all ups and downs. Still, it's hell, So yeah, I mean, it would have been tough. But your coaching staff did exactly the proper. You get calm. You got a 17-year-old in front of you. You just speak calmly and say, no worries. We got time. Here's what we're going to do. And you take the reins, you take the steering wheel and be like, first thing you say is, don't worry. We have time. And then you
yeah,
tell them this is what we're going to do. So that the person you're talking to, even if you're not 17, even if you're 27, when you're depleted and everything's hitting you, you just want someone to jump in and be like, I got this. Relax, follow my instructions. We'll be back in
yeah,
45 minutes and we'll be good. But yeah, but you know what? This builds character. This happened to you now at 17, and now you still became a world champion, had an amazing performance, and we'll get into that in a second. But now that this happened at 17, by the time you are 27, do you know how battle tested you'll be? If you missed weight or miss a lift, or you'll be like, all right, what are we talking about here? I'm good. I've been here. I've
yeah.
done this. Things
I
will
know
get
what I'm gonna
easier.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely important to just learn lessons, I would say.
It's all it is accumulating experience, man.
Yeah,
But and you were saying too, and this is the juniors. Wait till you get to the open and experience what that's going to be like. But you were saying even at the juniors, how wild it was seeing everybody from around the world that you noticed online, that you noticed on social media, and you're like, oh my God, we're all here. This is the world championships. And this is it's the
Yeah,
goat.
like it takes some time to really process it once you're there. But like after a couple of hours, you're looking around and you're like, this is worlds. This is the world championships. And you're
Ah,
looking out, just seeing the people that you were seeing on your phone,
uh,
and everyone's just like on that place. That's really, yeah, very
I know,
cool.
dude. I'm so upset that I missed this Junior Worlds. I haven't missed the Junior World since 2016, man. I'm
Ah,
super upset I missed it. It is what it is. I'll be back next year, but yeah, right. So you started your day, you hit 275, moved up to 301, and it's a world record attempt. And you're going for a world record on your second attempt. For you, now I had Elias de Book from Belgium on the podcast for the recap show. And Elias is saying, look, I've seen Hamza hit 330 in the gym before. Like you've smashed some big weights before. So for you, 301, you're thinking no problem, right?
yeah. Like usually on the meet, like on when I was prepping for the meet, I was saying like 300 as some mid hard weight, that I could squat any day. But on that meet day, since I was always already struggling with the weigh in and that I couldn't like hydrate myself that well and also didn't have
Hmm.
like any calories in, and also one another really important thing, I was awake since 2:40 a.m. on that day.
Oh, damn. So you got no sleep, barely any water, no calories. And why were you awake so early? Because you're trying to make weight?
So now, actually, I went to sleep pretty early. Like I went to sleep at like 8:30 p.m. or something. I was just tired, and
Hmm.
then I just woke up randomly at 2:40 a.m. and I had to make the decision. Oh, all right, am I going to try to sleep again? But what if I wake up too tired? Yeah, I just had all these thoughts going on and already had some adrenaline, adrenaline in myself. So I couldn't sleep. So I just said, all right, we just wake up. I took a shower and everything. I just made myself ready. And then I was just chilling. And then we went to the venue pretty early at like 6 a.m. I was already there. And on that scale, it said like 104.8. And then, yeah, it was completely different, actually. So on the squat, 305, or I think 201 was the second
Right.
attempt,
Yeah.
was pretty all right, I would say. It also felt pretty easy. But I just didn't have like the confidence around my knees. That's the thing with like the sleeves.
In so first off, that happens a lot, by the way. When you wake up the day of a competition, like in your day to day, you wake up middle of the night and then you just go back to sleep and you don't even
Yeah,
remember waking up half the time. It's just normal. But when you have the world championships that day, if you wake up and then you realize your conscious wakes up like, oh, I'm awake. And then it hits you, fuck, I'm at IPF Worlds and I'm about to lift at the world championships in like a few hours. You're not going back to sleep. That's it. When you wake up, you're up.
you
That's why,
actually
like, when
can't.
I, for real, I've been there before and it's like, you tell everybody you know, please don't wake me up and think I'm going to go back to sleep. Please don't wake me up and check something or just please don't wake me up, period. Because once I wake up, I'm not going back. You're not going back to sleep. You wake up and then you're like, holy shit, it's today. And it doesn't matter if it's hours later, it's over. The adrenaline hits and it dawns on you how serious it is. And yeah, that's it, man. You might as well wake up, start checking body weight, start doing the things you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But
And also like on the hotel I was staying, we didn't have a scale there. So
mm,
I was literally just waiting until 6 a.m., didn't drink or anything. I didn't know anything about the weight and just randomly went to the venue and just weighed myself there with a scale that isn't correct, you know.
so this is where moving forward, some advice I'd give is bring a scale with you, and then the day before, bring your scale
Compare it
to
to
the
the
venue.
scale there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then when you're back at the hotel, if you want to get some calories in you and you could sweat, you could be like, look, if I take out half a pound of body weight in water and I eat half a pound of food, not even the calories, but just the weight of it in my hands, the gut weight that it'll be, that could be 1,000 calories though. So for half a pound of sweat, I'm holding 1,000 calories worth, which weighs a half a pound in my hands. Like, so you're holding it when you're standing on the scale. So you'll consume the food, have 1,000 more calories in your body, and just sweat it out if it's in the shower or whatever. So you start doing this game throughout the day. So you have the calories in you. Now, of course, it depends on if you're manipulating sodium, etc., whether or not what the food is itself. But there's different games you could play. I had on Kedrick, who's like the guy when it comes to water cutting and weight cutting right now. He's worked with like all the big names. And we had a podcast. I mean, you should check out that podcast if you're interested in like weight cutting and leveling up on weight cutting. But he talked about all the tricks of the trade on how to get there, and because it's a piece of it. You can have an amazing prep, and if that weight cut goes sour, it's all you could have like 3 months of the prep of your life. The last day, it all goes out the window from a bad weight cut, and that's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
That's
it
heartbreaking.
definitely is. It definitely is. Um, so about the where were we again?
What are the 310 and a half? What happened
Oh,
there with the 310 and a half? Tell
on
me
the
about that
310
first.
and a half, I actually they were they said it's because of depth, and they
Hmm.
also said it's because of my end position because I wasn't upright enough. Yeah.
Ah,
So I got it red lighted, and then my competitor John just did I think half a kg more and just got the world record there. Um, yeah, this was pretty much on squats, I think.
right. And then for the bench press, I mean, look at that's obviously still a pretty good. Like, it's not what you probably would have liked if you've done. What's the heaviest you've done in the gym for a squat?
For squat,
Yeah. What's your
it's
gym
like
gear?
I've squatted 320 several times for I
Okay.
think 4 times or something, and then once 330, but the 330 wasn't depth clearly. Yeah, and on
Oh, okay.
320 I
Okay.
just
Okay.
had several attempts. I would say that I managed to squat 320, and so yeah, with all the things going up until Worlds, I just yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say bump out, but I just managed to get 301 kg.
Got a world record, dog. But it's mature of you to say that the 330 was high. Most people won't do that. You at 17 are like, nah, that was high. I don't count that. You know?
Like even after the single, I was like, I wasn't happy. Like I went up and I was like, all right, this wasn't that. I knew it, I just knew it from like the feeling of like I can already feel like if I hit depth or not. And after the
Mm,
squat, I was like, all right, this wasn't depth. So
but you
yeah,
got a taste of it. It's good to get a taste of these, but especially when you're 17, your strength is growing so crazy that sometimes like you don't even know where your strength's going to be at from month to month. It could be huge jumps. So every now and then it's like, all right, let's throw on 330. And it's like, oh my God, it's insane the weight you're shifting at a 17-year-old. So every now and then it's like a rangefinder shot. It's like all right, let me take 330 for a ride. And you'll take it deeper, in a little bit. Get used to this kind of weight that you have on your back. But it's crazy you're even loading it up, so it'll
yeah.
be there in the future, man.
I definitely like know the feeling of 330, I could say. Like having it on my back, controlling it, going up and down. Like the feeling itself is different to 300. Like it's
For sure.
such a big difference. Actually crazy.
It's dude, you're at 17, like by the time you're 18, by the time you're 19, you're still gonna be a teenager. What the hell are you gonna be squatting? Like it's it's crazy, man. I'm gonna get into like all like your background story and what your friends and family are thinking about all this. But I am interested in how your family would be like, what the hell is going on with you, my friend? But let's talk about the bench first. Let's get into the storytelling because we're on to the worlds. So you go 2 for 3 and you attempt the world record. How did bench feel? By the time bench rolls around, are you rehydrated again? Do you have more calories in you, or are you moving too quick and you still haven't been able to yet?
Actually, on my bench warmers itself, I was sometimes nearly blacking out. Like I saw like everything went just black sometimes. I just had to chill out real quick because like my third squat got red lighted. I had problems to weigh in. I didn't have any calories in myself. I was stressing a lot, all these thoughts in my head. Yeah. And while doing that, we had really, really short time between the lifts. So we were just a group of six actually in the 105s.
Oh, damn, you're gonna move quick.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like squat was done. Yeah. And we only had like this 15 or 20-minute rest in between. Yeah. And then just like and we were like six competitors. And between the attempts, yeah, you're pretty much done with the attempt. And like 3 or 4 minutes, you're already mentally getting ready for the next attempt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what in the warm ups, I was feeling all right. I had some, yeah, let's say back issues. I was like cramping a lot and stuff, but yeah, leading up to the opener was good. Yeah, second attempt also was pretty good, and I was like, yeah, I will probably get the world record. And I just said to myself, yeah, I benched more than this several times. And then on the third attempt, my left foot wasn't stable at all, so it just slipped, and my left erector, like my lower back, went cramping. So
Mm.
and then I just didn't get it.
See, that's the thing when it comes to the bench press. People think that it's just like your lower back. They don't realize how much your lower back can tense up when you set
Yeah.
up properly and get a nice tight setup on bench. Your lower back can tense up easy, especially if you cut a lot of weight. That's where I think like moving forward. If I don't, do you have a nutrition coach?
A nutrition coach at the moment, like just a nutrition coach itself, no, I don't.
Even not even just for like even just at the end for the cutting part in the recomp when you get your calories and water and whatnot, even if you just got someone to guide you through for that part would be huge just to make keep you on pace, checking your body weight as you're like doing the water load, deload, and then because when you start doing that stuff, it could I mean as you could tell, it can impact you a little bit. And
Yeah.
you're going to get bigger and bigger. Making 105 is going to get tougher and tougher. We'll talk about your future in a bit, but yeah, I mean, you're only going to get bigger and more muscular.
Yeah, I think in the future it could definitely be an option, yeah, to have a nutrition coach that can just guide you through stuff like this. Yeah, to just
Mm.
be having like a optimal cut, weight, water cut, and etc. And also just having optimal nutrition between lifts could definitely benefit. Yeah, you could definitely have good that benefits for that. Definitely.
I mean, because you're going to keep putting on muscle mass at only 17, and you're shifting weights. You're going to be at some point. The difference between a 105 to 120 is huge.
Yeah.
So you might be like, look, I don't know if I want to be 120, maybe at all, So even if you're a full on adult, so then that becomes later on more important to, just understand, have someone help guide you through this and keep you in. And I mean, you'll end up being an incredibly jacked 105 by the time you're like in your early 20s. Your body composition is going to shift to extremely shredded to be able to make 105. But with, more and more help, you'll be able to do it. And then cut whatever water you need to at the end. But it gets more and more. It's at 17, it's not something you necessarily want to think about too much in between competitions. It's just more you're already doing a water cut. You're already
Yeah.
there, so but yeah.
So my water cut wasn't that aggressive though. Like I just did a gut cut where I lost I don't know, like 3 kilograms or 2 kilograms, I would say. But where I did some water loading, so I just drink like 11 liters or something a day
Mm,
and then in 2 days out I just drink like 4 liters, and then on the day before I just drink like a liter or something. Um, and that usually also helped me. I caught it like and at nationals this year, I caught it like 6.3 kilograms with that. And
holy shit.
yeah, because at the times of nationals, I was actually weighing a lot. I think like 110 or something. But now
Damn.
I'm actually trying to go lower with my weight right now to maintain, I don't know, 107 or something to just make it easier with maybe only doing a gut cut than just some cutting some water away or something. And my next meet will also my weigh-in is at like 1 p.m. So if they don't change anything there, it should also be way easier to make the weigh-in.
Yeah.
So
It helps you give a little bit of a cushion room when you wake up, check the body weight, whatever you got to do.
yeah, I actually weigh so much less later the day. Like actually, like at the like in the morning I'm weighing that's like a 2 or 3 kg difference for me.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah, I don't know. Like if I weigh myself midday, I always weigh way less than in the morning.
When you moved into deadlifts, so how are you feeling by the time deadlifts roll around? Because you start with 315, you smoke 330.5, hit a world record, and you got to be feeling semi good, man. Because I remember reposting, and you did that ice cold wipe the dirt off your shoulder, and so how are you feeling at that point?
So at the time of deadlifts, I was actually getting kind of mad at myself that I had. So I was like, dude, this meet isn't going like as I want to, and deadlift is like kind of my lift that I always like make, like be just good at it. I would say in a meet. So I was like getting really mad in the warm up room, and my planned opener was I think 325 actually. So we just dropped it down because my thumb already was opening up on my warm ups. Yeah, on
Oh,
like my
wow.
last warm up of 300 kilograms, my thumb was already opening up, and I just had some. It was kind of bleeding, so we just reduced the opener to 315. That was pretty easy, and by that time already my thumb was bleeding a lot. So I just actually took some liquid chalk, put it onto the bleeding area.
Oh God,
It actually it actually hurts so much, but I just had to do it, you know. Uh, and then I just went for the second attempt on the 330, and there my thumb was actually so ripped open, yeah. And then I just put some more liquid chalk, more normal chalk, and everything, and then went to a third attempt. And there I was actually feeling like when I put my thumb onto the bar, I was literally feeling the bone touching the bar.
gosh.
It was feeling like that, you know. So about the third deadlift, yeah, it was I think for a I don't know for which record it was, but I just said yeah, let's do 357, and I just went for it. I was actually in the lockout, but I just noticed something that on like above 350 on my attempt at 360 and when I was in Belgium with like some friends and everything, after my knees lock out, my body shifts to the left, like my upper body. And there I actually lose my grip. And this also happened on the 357. Like once
Mm.
I lock up my knees, I'm literally gonna lock out. My body shifts to the left, and I'll lose my grip. Yeah, and we're trying to get rid of that at the moment. But I don't know why this happens. But yeah, well, yeah, this was pretty much with the deadlifts for
But you
me.
almost had it. And that's 27 kilos you would add to your total. And your total is already 836.5 for a 17-year-old 105. That's
If I
freaking,
if I would make all of my third attempts, it would be 882. So and my goal was 880 actually. But yeah, I just did like 6 out of 9. So I'll definitely left some close there.
can you imagine, dog? You were putting this liquid chalk directly into your bloody hand. If that entered your bloodstream and they blood test you, they'd be like, my God, this guy's got liquid chalk in his blood. They'd be like, how badass is this kid?
Yeah.
He's literally made to power lift. I don't know if,
Yeah.
but
Actually, it was just like what came into my mind. I was seeing my thumb bleeding. I was like, all right, let's just get some liquid chalk on there to have grip. So I
let's
just did it.
let's tighten it up, man. You're like a soldier in the
Yeah.
battlefield. You stitch it up the best you can, and you keep soldiering on. So when it was all said and done, like you obviously had anticipated winning the worlds, but so it might not have been the numbers you wanted, but it's still fantastic numbers. And the reaction to what you accomplished at Junior Worlds was everybody's like, "Oh my God, who is this guy? What's going on here?" What was it like afterwards? You became a world champion. You hit the numbers you hit. Everybody on social media is sharing it, blowing it up, talking about, "Oh my God, Hamza, he's doing this, that, and the other." and you go home, you're world champion, you're telling your friends and family. How does it feel now? And how are your friends and family for you and the people around
I think we should separate like the title of being a world champion and the personal goals that
you?
someone would want to hit. So first things first, like after when I knew like when I like recognized, all right, I'm world champion, it was a really cool feeling. But straight after the meet, I was like pretty, I would say, pissed off at myself after failing the third deadlift and also failing the lifts before. I was actually so not, I would say, proud of myself, like at all. Like I was actually
Mm.
really, yeah. But after a while, I was like, it was still a pretty decent competition. I got world champion. I was still like really thankful for that at the end. So, and my fam, it wouldn't change for them anything if I would hit 880 or 840, you know. So I still just got the title, and my dad and my brother was also with me at Worlds, so they were also like seeing everything. Um, but I would say the reaction from them, from my friends and family, was pretty cool, and I also have to
Listen,
thank to them because they were also like one of the reasons why I even came up to the Worlds, you know, because family needs to support you to pretty much get there. So
put it in perspective. If you hit depth on your third squat, you got that bench when and your foot doesn't slip. You locked out that dead, but just that lockout, you missed this, right? If you got all those and you got your 80, Christoph Versbecki, who is an all-time great. This is before your time. You probably don't even know who this is, but he's a multiple-time world champion in the 93s, a world champion in the 105s, a multiple-time world champion in two different weight classes, and one of the greatest powerlifters who ever lived. And he's not in the Hall of Fame now, but as soon as he's eligible, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He won the world championships in the Open 105 with 885. And to do that, he beat Bryce Lewis, who got a silver medal, and Bryce Lewis hit 870. And Bryce Lewis, by the way, won world championships with 875. I'm just giving you perspective, dude. You're 17, and we're talking about like some of the greatest powerlifters the 105 class has ever seen. So when we talk about it, it's crazy what you're accomplishing. you know, historically speaking, it's wild, man. For me, who's been commentating, like I even before I've been commentating, I was watching powerlifting and into powerlifting. But since I've been commentating, this is stuff that's like unheard of. This is so for your family, that's like, and your friends. I don't even know if you guys got full perspective on how crazy this is. And this is also why when you see the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of likes and shares and whatnot that's going on with you, because people that are older than you that have been around know, like they're comparing you to what they've seen. So even if you weren't around for those times, other people were, and they're like, "Oh my God, take a look at this kid. Oh my God, have you seen this? Have you heard of this?" Just to give you perspective on like how unique and special this is. Yeah, it's crazy,
so the thing is with me, I think as the sport just grew over the past years, I think there were just like the, I would say, standard numbers also went up. So like right now, I'm just comparing myself to the open right now, actually. So I just look at what they do, and I just look at myself and when could I hit that? When could I hit this and like this specific number
man.
to get maybe a medal or something? I'm looking at it like this, but like yeah, I don't know. I think 885 world champion is definitely crazy. Like in the past years, when was it? Like in
Christopher
2000s?
Zbecki was 2017 in
Mm-hmm.
Belarus. I was commentating that session, dog. It was crazy. And 2018, Bryce Lewis came back and won. They went back and forth. But yeah, if you're looking at it now, it's like in the IPF, it's Anatoly, who
Yeah.
obviously won best lifter in the Open, and he's 940. And then if Ashton and Bob and them come over, now they're 110. But if they come over to 105 in the IPF, and obviously we've all heard the whispers of a lot of people coming over from the USAPL, let's let them do their thing in a week. We'll all pay attention to see who wins that battle, and it'll be exciting. And then let's see who comes over. But I mean, you won't even be tussling with these fellas in like you're 17. I mean, who knows who's going to be where? By the time you are in the 105 Open, these guys might be retired or they're 120s because Bob Matthews has been on the podcast and talked about, I think I'm going to probably be a 120 at some point in my career. Like he's thinking of moving up to
I've
like,
also heard that Ashton would go into the 105s and Bob would go to the 120s. And actually, about Bob, uh, before my SPD sessions or something like that, yeah, I was actually always watching Bob's videos because of
mm,
like I just like the hype and the vibe of his videos. It's pretty
he's
cool.
hype, man. He's a
Yeah,
good, he's Bob's a good guy, cool dude. Haven't met him in person, but had him on a podcast a few times now. And his battle with Ashton. Are you watching this?
yeah,
Like, are you? Yeah.
yeah. I
So
am.
and Keenan Lee, who some people like forget about him because he doesn't post as much.
Yeah,
He's over in like this is like American nationals, and he's in South Korea, so he's like literally and figuratively like out of the way, out of sight, out of mind to an extent because he's not over there with the rest of the Americans, where these Americans are all together training together and whatnot. But Keenan's coming. He's nobody to look past, and he's a true 110. Like he fills out 110. I don't know where Bob's body weight is right now. Ashton, I think they're all filling out 110 closer anyway. Sometimes they're a little lighter, but they all know like this is neither one of them can afford to come in to this is head to head. You can't afford to come in light. So I think they're going to be their body weights are going to be pretty big. I'm what I've noticed. Bob had a crazy huge SPD session where he went all out for like 1,000 kilo total,
1,000 kilo. Yeah,
and he posted that since then it's been a struggle to get back. I don't know, like if he burned himself out or left his the bet, like he pushed it too hard, so his weight came down. Ashton a little more even keel, been crushing, but Bob had time to a little taper, a little deload, and he's not posting as much as he was leading into that 1,000 kilo. So it's I'm not sure where they're at. And Keenan, he doesn't post as much, but he's posted, he's competed, and I don't know, man. What do you think? What do you think's going to happen here?
well, I think Bob could be cooking something in the background towards the meet.
Ooh,
That could be
something
something
spicy?
like
You think he cooks
yeah,
something
like
spicy?
you have to yeah, you have to think like you said like yeah, after the SPD session I was feeling like this and this, so he might not post all the stuff that he might is doing right now to be at the comp day and maybe hit something crazy, and
Mm.
I think all three of them are so strong and so competitive, and it will be a great battle from all of them to see
You,
to watch that.
it is like it is somewhat misleading when you're looking at social media sometimes because people are showing what they want to show.
Yeah,
And for sure, if Bob is rebounded, because I believe him in that when he went for the 1,000 kilos, I believe him in that like he might have got a little burnt, like for sure. That's like a competition. Right after competition, sometimes you got to deload for a bit, you're burnt out, the central nervous system is fried, muscles are sore, tight, whatever. But he might have rebounded and be right ready to reload it and ready to start firing. And he's like, this time I won't show everything. This time, you're gonna see me
that's
in a
what I
week when
mean.
you
That's what I mean.
right. So exactly. And Ashton's a monster. I mean, Ashton's an absolute monster. Keenan's a monster. He's got travel though. Keenan's got to come from the other side of the world. And when Keenan gets here, the time zone change, I don't know what it is. It's got to be something crazy. So he's got these other fellas don't quite have the intangibles that Keenan has to deal with. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with all of that. Are you leaning towards one or the other taking it?
So I am more of a Bob fan, I would say. So I would say maybe Bob could make the lead. I don't know. So
Yeah, but it's tough. I know. I mean, he's Bob's special talent. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, all of them are special talents. They are all outliers. They are all like absolute freaks. All three of them. So between them, any one of them could win for sure. Who was the guy that used? How did you get into powerlifting, by the way?
How I got into powerlifting was actually I was pretty much doing random stuff. I was just training heavy. I just had my compounds in and stuff like that. And after a while, I was getting pretty strong. And then someone from IG just approached me and said, like, yeah, come over to the gym, come like to the powerlifting gym, and maybe we could hit a session. And there I met my first coach, and then just started. It was also like really quick. Like the the meet there, like to go into the powerlifting gym was scheduled in like 2 days or something. I just got the DM. 2 days later, I was at the powerlifting gym, got my first coach, and started pretty much training powerlifting specific. So everything went really quick for me, actually. So
I
that's
looked into your social media and scroll back to 2020, and
uh
dog, it's the cutest. I just love your
bro, I
it,
was 14 there, like the first
dog.
post.
It's the cutest, my friend. Baby faced Hamza squatting 170, deadlifting 200 kilos, and yeah, frig man. But like you still to be 14 years old, squatting and benching and doing like an SBD and whatnot. Like but it's crazy how quickly. And this is 2020. So is this when did you start like weightlifting? And why did you start weightlifting? How did you get into like lifting weights? Period.
So I was actually kind of overweight, so I went to lose weight. Yeah, and then I was like, all right, I lost some decent weight, and just said like, yeah, I want to put on some muscle. Let's go to the gym. And I was pretty much hooked. I was like addicted, kind of thing, and
Mm.
just went over and over, and just saw like, yeah, I'm getting stronger. That's pretty much what drives me to better myself. And yeah, about the SBD day at like 14, this was pretty much like before lockdown. Yeah, back in that
Yeah.
time.
It
So
was
I
literally
just,
right before his March 2020. And I remember that's when the world was about to flip on its ear.
yeah, and before that, I just went like, yeah, let's max out. Yeah, why not? And then after lockdown, I just did my thing. And then like half a year later, I got the DM and it was all pretty quick actually.
In how big in Austria is powerlifting? Like I know, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's from Austria. For
Yeah.
God's sake, man. When we're talking about weightlifting legends, like look at we think Bob Russell or here big names. Arnold Schwarzenegger has statues around the world about him. Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger has Arnold Schwarzenegger has festivals in his name around the world. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger is like a Greek, like one of these Greek pharaohs with statues and festivals to his name. Like it's crazy. So what is like what are the sports that are big in Austria, and how big is weightlifting and powerlifting in particular?
So I think weightlifting and powerlifting has also grown the last, I would say, 2 years here, and it's still growing pretty fast. But I think it has still some, yeah, great potential because we have a lot of sub juniors that couldn't make it to Worlds or Euros this year that could have placed actually first place in the 83s,
Really?
in the 74s, Simon in the 93s, maybe even. So we have all these sub juniors that just couldn't make it to Worlds. But also we have a lot of open, strong people. Yeah, like from the more, let's say, from the women. Uh, they're also like pretty strong. And I think it is growing crazy right now. And I think in like 1 or 2 years, it could grow immensely here. And once the all the sub tiers can also go to roles and everything, would pretty much make a dramatic change here. And weightlifting in general is, I would say, I think here in the German speaking countries, like fitness is pretty large right now. And with all the influencers and everything, it's pretty known to do like fitness and everything. And but like powerlifting, I think a lot of people are switching to powerlifting right now here.
Really? Yeah.
So
See, that's what I've noticed in like North America, for instance. Fitness was always big. There's
yeah,
gyms in every single city. But initially, It was bodybuilding and just lifting for like other sports or lifting to be
Yeah,
fit.
yeah.
But the shift to bring them over to powerlifting started when like powerlifters started emerging on social media and made it cool. And powerlifters started like that started happening. And then the shift got over there and people like, oh wow, what are they doing? That looks cool. And like women started powerlifting and made it cool for women to powerlift, squat, bench, and deadlift, etc. So it takes time. But as long as if fitness and lifting weights and go to the gym is prevalent in these German speaking nations, converting them to powerlifting isn't going to be hard. You just
Yeah.
gotta you just need some people to emerge so they look that way. Which have you heard about this one kid coming up the ranks? He's pretty good. 17 years old. He's got some people talking. How in these German speaking nations, how prevalent is English? Is do most people speak English?
Well, actually, like German speaking people are actually, I would say, pretty bad at English. I don't know. Like
Oh, really?
a lot of like probably I also like we all have like this German accent in English. That is pretty known, I think.
Well, yeah, like sure an accent, but most Germans I've met can speak English though. Like
Hmm.
here's what I'm getting to. Is more some nations when they're trying to like make a move in powerlifting, a lot of like programming or like videos on how to program or how to water cut or technical videos like on how to, refine your squat and deadlift. A lot of the content or articles are in English. And for some nations, it's difficult for the lifters and coaches to access all of this content that's out there and available. So they miss out. And it takes even longer because it takes a few people from their nation to take the content, understand it, apply it themselves, and then pass it along. And then those people disseminate the information in the native language. Whereas, like, this is what happened in France with Penna. Initially, when Penna was coming up as a coach, him and Coco were they noticed like a lot of the French programming anyways wasn't French coming from the old guard from France, and they started taking these online classes with Mike T, legendary coach. Mike T with RTS reactive training systems is the person who who created the RPE system of
Yeah.
programming for powerlifting. Like he's the godfather of all of that. He brought it from other sports. And Mike T's a legend, to this day, a legend when it comes to programming, right? He's a genius. And he had these online classes. And Penna and Coco coming up, aspiring young guys, the young guns, right? We're like, we can make a change, but we need to level up in terms of our programming and our coaching to be competitive with the rest of the world. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. So they started taking these online classes in English, and other people who didn't speak English, and some like Noemi Alabar, world champion, doesn't speak English. Samantha Eugenie, I mean, they have a little bit of English, but not fluent. But when guys like Penna and Coco bring over the programming ideas and convert it themselves into French, now all of a sudden it just plops into France and spreads slow like a lot quicker because it's getting converted over. And I mean, Noemi at one point was coached by Penna and et cetera. So, and Samantha like lived with Penna at one point. So these training disseminate. So in Austria, do people is English common enough that people can like watch videos and take in English content or no?
And like just by let's say to be able to understand the content, definitely.
Okay.
Um, but like I think most of the people are doing German content here, actually. Like the powerlifting scene is more doing German, but like not English. So there are just some people that are doing English, for example, me or something. But like pretty much everything is German based, I would say.
Well, here's the thing with this. So as long as you can understand other like English content, you could take in the information, like whether like you could read an article or watch a video on water cutting and be like, okay, there's a new protocol I'm going to use. But here's a good thing about if you're going to make content and doing it in your native language. Hannah does almost all of his content in English, in French, and like it explodes. Like the guy gets like insane traction on YouTube and social media, Instagram, etc. And He does it all in French. That market, once he helped expand the social media market for powerlifting, and he does collaborations with social media guys in France who have like millions of followers on TikTok, a million followers on YouTube, and they're in France, so they'll do collaborations with Penna. So Penna takes powerlifting to these more mainstream people and explodes powerlifting in France. So Penn is bring helping level up on coaching, helping level up on social media. Now, and he keeps the social media in French. Now, because he has a stronghold in powerlifting and French content in France, and there's other French speaking nations around the world, so he has a stronghold elsewhere as well. It's more difficult for an English speaker to come in and try to take that market from him because you don't speak French. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, good
So
luck.
he has all
Good,
this French bubble on his side, pretty much. That's the
that's
thing.
it. That's it. Even someone as huge as Russell Orhe isn't taking Penna's market. Go ahead. We could go side by side. It's fine. You're not taking my market. I'm not taking yours. I made my own. I made this market, and now it's mine because, like,
Yeah.
unless someone else from France comes up, and that's the same thing with German is an opportunity, anyways, that you could take in English speaking and whatnot. But if you start pumping out any kind of German speaking, if you can create that market and be the first one to blow it up, like Penna did in France, that's yours, Playboy. It's going to be real difficult for someone to come along and take it. That market is wide open for somebody. It's tough being the first one to come because you have to create it. So, like, you're doing collaborations and blah, blah, blah. Like, you're 17, so you're not going to worry about all this right now. But eventually down the line, when things unfold naturally, it's you'll notice, you'll be like, oh wow, not just anybody can come in here. You don't speak the language. You don't know the culture. You can't just walk in here and take this market from me. You pay your dues and come up through there. That's yours, man. That's yours. Unless somebody else is as good as you who speaks German, and that's gonna be tough. Although there are some Team Germany had a pretty good showing. Like Jonah in the
Yeah.
120s juniors. Oh my god,
Jonah.
a year.
Yeah. Jonah, actually, I've met him, I think 2 months ago in Germany when I was in Köln, it's called. And he's a really, really cool guy. We understand each other a lot. And yeah, he is actually so big. Like actually he's massive. Like for the
He's huge,
time,
huh?
he is actually so huge, bro. That's actually crazy. And he has only been powerlifting for like a year or so, and it's
Yeah.
already put on like I don't know 100 kg total and just one waltz, I think. And bro, he benches 250. That's all I'm gonna say. Like his arms are
It's
huge.
insane. For him to be a junior, only been competing a year. So he totaled 925.5. And Etienne from Lebanon beat him by a kilo. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
these two fellas went to war at Junior Worlds.
Yeah,
And Jonah's been doing this a year, man. Like he's like, I think he came, does he come? You might know better. He comes from bodybuilding, right? Did he bodybuild
yeah,
before this
yeah,
or
yeah,
okay?
yeah. He did bodybuilding before.
I'm very interested in seeing what Jonah ends up
he
doing when he sticks to
he has
powerlifting full time.
also he didn't even train that heavy towards the meet. He was also doing a lot of bodybuilding still. Like actually, like the last months, he just told me, yeah, he's just doing bodybuilding. That's what he likes to do, and just having his main lifts in his program. So I don't know how he did his peak though, but I don't think he went that heavy.
Who can you imagine? If he's just testing the waters out to see how it is,
That's the
if
thing is,
someone
yeah, that's the oh my god, he's so much potential. That's
this is it, and if someone convinces him, my friend, like a powerlifting coach comes forward and says, "Dude, I respect that you like to bodybuild and it's fun and you should like your training because you're going to be doing a lot of it, but if we make a push, my friend, and we get you on a straight up powerlifting program just to see what you can do, oh
yeah.
my gosh, man, if
I
he fully
think
commits,
I think he can also improve form wise. Yeah, maybe on deadlift or something. But
sure."
once he get that over time and just builds up momentum and everything, I think he could dominate. Like actually, it's just 1 year in. That's actually so crazy.
Well, here's the thing with in terms of like improvement. Even just small things go a long way. And there's always
Yeah,
things you could do. There's always little things you
always.
could do when you have a coach and they're like, just bring your hands in a little bit, just move your toes out a little bit on this angle. Just do just little things that you're always toying with and
Yeah.
tinkering with. And when you've only been doing it a year and you haven't even been training heavy that long in the gym or too often, like once you start doing it more often, you start noticing things and start tinkering around a little bit and figuring things out.
Yeah, it will
Yeah,
just also all have better body awareness, which is also really important.
right. Yeah,
Even if
yeah.
in his weights too. So yeah.
How close is like team like Austria and the German team and what other nations speak German?
I think Switzerland, Germany, Austria, well, I actually don't know. I
Luxembourg
think
for what it's worth. Luxembourg, I know Gaston Parage, the
yeah,
IPF
maybe
president,
that.
speaks German. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that.
And
But
are your teams, are your teams like relatively close? Like do you train together and like
no, I wouldn't say close, but they're like good to go, like good together. Yeah, if I don't know,
yeah.
I also got handled last year at last year's Euros with my head coach from Austria and from the head coach from Germany. So they're all pretty
Ah,
cool with each other.
then it is relatively close. I mean, frig, man, if you guys are doing that.
Yeah, they're definitely really close.
And how many people, like, so Germany, do you know how many people are in the Austrian Federation?
In the Austrian Federation, well, I actually don't know, but I think there are a lot of let's say sports club, and approximately I would go with maybe 500
Okay.
plus
So
minus
relatively
1K.
compared to like Spain has 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
Put it this way. So I had Alberto on, the 74 kilo junior world champion. And he was telling me last time I had him on when he was a 66 kilo junior world champion in 2021, he said they had around 5 to 600 members in Spain, just like Austria. 2 years later, 2023, he just wins the 74, and I have him back on. Spain is now 3,000, 6 times the amount of people. That's how quickly it's
Yeah,
growing.
I think that could also happen with Austria when I would approximately say 500 to maybe 1K. So, all right.
Right, right, right.
So
We're guessing.
yeah, and in the next 1 or 2 years, that it can definitely go towards 2K, 3K, something like that.
And if we talk about in terms of expansion, France, which previously had way less people, is now recently hit 10,000.
Wow, that's crazy.
And this is what happens when like stars emerge and they blow up on social media and people find you on social media and like I want to get involved. That looks exciting. Let's do this. Especially like competitions like Sheffield. Did you watch Sheffield by the way?
Yeah, I did.
What did you think, man? You think you're going to be there someday? 2030?
With Sheffield, Sheffield was really, really cool. There were a lot of cool moments, and just I think just like the standard, like there were just the strongest of the strongest there. That's the thing. So the standard there was so high, yeah, and it was. I think that Sheffield is like the first step towards powerlifting growing immensely in
Hmm.
the next years. I think it's like how could I say, like with Sheffield they could expand so much, like powerlifting they could expand it so much in the next years with Sheffield and
Yeah, I
everything.
mean,
So
it actually looks like professional sports you
that's the
want it to
thing.
look.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's it's so cool there, and I personally also have for sure the goal to one day be at Sheffield, definitely. And we'll just see when this happens, hopefully. So yeah, but it would be pretty cool.
What are your goals overall? Like you're 17 years old. When you're, let's say you're 30 years old, what will you have accomplished?
With 30 years old, yeah, I think I just wanted to be the best I could be. So it means I would be as close as possible to my, let's say, genetic limit. Yeah. And I think genetic wise, I could probably hit 950 to a K, definitely of total, and just to get as close as possible there. But yeah, man, I just wanted it earlier. I would, let's say, like this, like 30 is pretty late, I would say.
Dog, it's 13 years away, which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
A lot can happen, man. I mean, look at we talk about getting into the Olympics. You're the age that you might actually see it and be competing there. Because things
Really?
take a while to happen. You're the age that if we're going to get in the Olympics, it'd be you.
Yeah, I think is actually Olympic weightlifting going out of Olympics now, or
I'm not sure. I mean, there's been talk of that, maybe. And I don't know if that helps us or hurts us. I think there's always going to be a strength sport in the Olympics. I think there always is. And people talk about because of the failures Olympic weightlifting had, how that might impact us and how no, they won't put another strength sport in because doping failures that Olympic weightlifting had. But look at sprinting. The 100-meter race is literally the rock star event of the Olympics. 100% it is. No question asked.
yeah.
The 100 meters, like when Usain Bolt and all those fellas, they become multi-millionaires, famous all over the world. It's crazy how big of an event. And look at the doping failures associated with the 100-meter race. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So I don't know. I don't think that's going to be the factor in terms of what happening with Olympic weightlifting. And it's the doping failures, I believe, is why they're on shaky ground. I don't think that impacts us. I don't think so anyways. And if they remove Olympic weightlifting due to that, I don't think they're automatically going to assume, well, that means powerlifting has to be just as dirty. I don't think so. I think they're always going to have a strength sport in the it's strength sports. Strengths, there's always going to be a strength sport, I think, associated with the Olympics. Just like there'll always be a combat sport, whether it's wrestling, boxing, or whatever. I mean, I know they talked about pulling wrestling out, then they put it back in, but there'll always be a combat sport. Sambo's going in, boxing's in now. They're like, there's always going to be, because that ties us right to the beginning. There's always been how far can you throw that stone? What's the heaviest stone you could lift from couple thousand years ago? Like, I don't know. I got to think it's a possibility.
I think powerlifting definitely has the potential to go into the Olympics, like in the next, let's say, 5 years, just by how much it would grow. Yeah. I actually don't know how many people are doing Olympic weightlifting. I actually don't know how many people really train in that way. I think more in the Asian countries, it's, I think, a bit more popular, but like in
Hmm.
the more Western countries, I don't think it's that popular, I would say. Like,
Yeah,
meanwhile,
like yeah, CrossFit helped popularize it because CrossFit has
yeah,
Olympic
true,
weightlifting,
true.
so that helped. But I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like when I go to gyms, I see like for sure far more people. You're far more likely to see someone squatting, benching, or deadlifting than you are to see someone cleaning and jerking or doing a
Yeah,
snatch. You
that's the
don't walk
thing.
into a gym and see somebody snatching. I can walk into a gym and see a 60-year-old lady, a 65-year-old lady squatting for sure. I wouldn't think twice.
Yeah,
I walk into a gym and see a 65-year-old man squatting for sure. In terms of if you put this on television and have a far bigger market of people watching that can relate to it and understand, I know what a squat is. I know what a deadlift is. I don't know all the rules of powerlifting, but I know enough that I know what I'm watching. And you know what you could do. So when you see somebody else doing 100 times more, you're like, oh my God. But when you see a clean and jerk and a snatch, doesn't transfer over to like almost anybody. Not many people I know. I know so many people who are just general people who go to the gym. Almost none of them do clean and jerk and snatch. Almost, I mean, like a huge chunk of them at least bench press and know a squat and deadlift and have tried it.
yeah.
So
Even like the bodybuilding or fitness scene is also doing benches
they
or
all they all
squatters.
knew, yeah.
Yeah,
So in terms of that's why when Sheffield gets the views it gets. It gets more views than we have active powerlifters. The reason why, you don't have to be a powerlifter to watch and enjoy it. You just have to be a gym fitness person because squat, bench, deadlift. You could be a bodybuilder, you could be whatever, just a guy who does SBD in the gym, and you can appreciate what that is. It's not hard. You're like, oh my god, I just watched Jesus Oliveras squat over 1,000 pounds and deadlift over 900 pounds and blah blah blah. And so that's why when we're talking about expansion of powerlifting, entry into the Olympics, stuff like that, I can see people making judgment calls saying, A, is this a sport that's global? 100% we are legit global. Like I just said, Sambo is going into the Olympics, and it is. Sambo, my friend, if you saw video of their world championships, not even close to as many nations show up at Sambo. I'm in Canada. Try to find Sambo Canada Federation. Like it's like what, a dozen people. Like I'm dog, they're nowhere near as big, as well structured, as well funded with sponsorships. Some of these sports that are making it into the Olympics are so much smaller than powerlifting in terms of the amount of federations backing by the public, and in terms of like viewership. Everyone goes to the gym and understands. I think the people who are making certain decisions all around are going to see, like, yeah, man, put this on television. People know what they're seeing and they could relate to it. It's possible. And it's not going to happen in 5 years. If this happens in 10 years, you're still in your 20s. You know what I'm saying? You got time on your side. If this happens, dude, Taylor Atwood hit his peak in his 30s. Dog, that's like 15 years away for you. And you're still only
Yeah.
32, and you'd still be in your physical prime. 15 years is your physical prime. So you got time on your side. You're like, all right, let's just see what happens. I mean, you probably can't even think about 15 years in the future, but
No, I can't. I can't.
it'd be crazy.
It would be crazy, definitely. Oh man.
You, you like, how often do you think about things like this, or you just take it one day at a time?
I actually don't know. I just look at the position that I'm right now and just try to do like the best that I can at the situation right now in order to have the, let's say, the future to also have a better situation. Then, like if I just think that in 10 years I want to be this and that, I have to make decisions now to get there. So I just look at the presence. So I don't think about that much.
The biggest thing that juniors will face is like burnout. We actually had a couple of people coming into this junior worlds talking about burnout. Like Malik from France, the 93, 19 years old. Now he said the fire's lit back in him because he came in second. He called it a loss, I think, maybe translated wrong, but a silver medal at Worlds really isn't a loss. But I mean, you
Yeah.
guys hold each other at high standards. But he was talking about burnout. He's 19, and Yulong Lee, defending 93 kilo world junior world champion, said he was burnt out and it wasn't like motivated for powerlifting, etc. So the biggest thing I would say, like the biggest challenge you'll face for powerlifting, like as a junior and in your case a sub junior, is pacing yourself in terms of how intense you get with it and not suffering from burnout. Having things outside of powerlifting and not getting too stressed out and caught up in it. I mean, dog, you're 16 years old and you had a sponsor. Yeah, like this is not normal 16-year-old life. And you're 17 years old and thousands of people all over the world watch you. This is not normal for a 17-year-old, but at the same time, what are you going to do? Not do it? You're literally doing things no
Yeah,
17-year-old's ever done. Like, what are you going to
that's
do?
the
What are you
thing.
supposed to do?
That's the thing. Like if you let's say have dreams that also like what to do to get there, and it's like what's pursuing like pushing you to give everything that you have every day. I think it's pretty cool. I would say for now, I didn't feel a burnout or something. I hope that it doesn't happen in the future. But for now, I'm just actually like for my sub junior, I'm just chilling right now. I'll just like for Euros right now, I'm just pretty much pretty hard on myself. Yeah, when it comes to training and stuff like that. But because I just want to make up some stuff there. But after that, I'll just chill a bit. So juniors is still 5 years. I still got 5 years time in the juniors. That's the
Crazy.
thing.
Do you think you'll
So
stay a junior this whole time, or do you think because we've had juniors go into the open and win?
so so next year actually, if it's possible, I would try to compete in the open if
I
that's
think that would be
possible.
amazing. Like if you at 18, still a sub junior, competed in the open and were competitive, it'd be insane.
Yeah, that's the thing. I actually don't know. Like I think second place at 905, and then I don't know until fifth place or something was I think Coco got fifth place with like 880 or something. So
Mm,
I think
I
I
can't
don't know
remember
a
off the top of
top,
my head, but yeah.
yeah, and I think top 10, top 5 or something would be pretty cool. And yeah, it's a goal for me, and we'll see how that go.
Well, you could do both, right? Like you could do juniors, you could do open, or you could just do open and not because you already got a sub junior world title. That's yours. So if you want next year, you could do open worlds for the experience and sub junior worlds, or you could just do open, come back when you're a junior, and like I mean, you could rotate it around. You got 5 years as a junior, you know.
So next year, since I'm turning 18 in November, so I'm not a sub junior next year. I'm a junior next year.
Ah, gotcha.
So it's like since I'm 2005, it's just like my last sub junior year. So that's why I'm pretty hard on myself with Euros right now, you know. And so I just want to
Mm.
have like the highest total that I can do in as a sub junior. So after that, it's already juniors then. I'm pretty unlucky when it comes to like when I was born, like I was in like in November. So like with 6 weeks or something, I would have another year. But from my own goals, for me, sub junior and juniors is something that yeah, okay, that's pretty cool to compete there. But for me, my main goal is always the open. That's like the mind of from me. Yeah, I just want to go into the open and be competitive there. Juniors is pretty cool into that and stuff, but like as long as they're stronger 105s, I just want to compete with them.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, it's great experience. And you know what? When you show up in the open, the attention, like if you show up at juniors, all attention's on you, right? You show up in the open, people are looking at like if it's Anatoly, if it's Ashton, if Ashton comes over, or if it's Mikey D or freaking Bob or like all the 105s, right? Like who knows what it's going to look like. They're going to carry that. So you get to just operate while they're in the intense battles. You're gaining experience, you're soaking it all in, and you don't have to deal with all that. You're just like, let me just compete amongst you guys. Let me soak it in amongst you guys. I'm 18. Nobody's expecting me to win at 18. It almost returns you back to just have here for experience and fun and just do the best you can. Worry about PRs. Whereas when you're like at the top, it's still fun, but the expectation is winning and
Yeah,
it's different then.
yeah.
So there's
I
there's some
think
benefit to that as well.
I think just to be able to compete with the big guys, I would say, is
Yeah.
already something like a goal that I've already accomplished. Then just to be on the platform with I don't know maybe Ash or something, that would just be so cool. Even though if I get like sixth or seventh, I'm still in the same platform as him. You know?
Sixth or seventh in the world though, amongst the best of the best, amongst killers. Like it's yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, man.
yeah. Like with top 10, I would be really happy with that. Yeah, and maybe if everything goes good and I've been 9 of 9 day, maybe a top 5 would be possible. But yeah, just like for the experience, I would say the next year's open, if it's possible, yeah, like federation wise, but we'll see.
What's let me ask you a couple questions so people get to know you a little better, non-powerlifting related, but these are easy questions. Um, what is your favorite food?
Food, food. I would say a Turkish dish that is you probably know döner, like kebab.
Is that your background, Turkish?
And my background is Turkish, yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So pretty much
Uh,
like yeah, I like Turkish dishes a lot. Um, yeah.
there was Turkish pastry that I someone brought because last juniors was in Turkey in Istanbul, and it was like amazing. Like it was like one of the best things I've ever eaten in my life. But the guy told me the calorie dense how it was, and it was like half my calories in like a 3 bites. It was crazy, but it tasted amazing. I can't remember what it was, what it's called.
Is it
And
baklava or
that sounds
was
like
it
you
something sweet or
super sweet, super sweet.
okay, so I think I would go with baklava then. Baklava.
And it tasted, my man, like picture the best day of your life
I know, I
and
know, I know.
put it in your fucking mouth.
I
Okay,
know.
it tasted
It's actually
amazing.
that's the thing.
But
If I eat something from that my mom made or something, it just probably has a lot of calories, a lot of fats, a lot of oil. So I also have to be
God
careful
bless,
with that.
God bless. You're gonna be a 120 real quick, but you'll be a
Yeah,
happy 120. Man,
yeah.
that tasted good. Man, that tasted good. I couldn't have a lot of them, but I was like, damn, I'm glad I tasted it. How about who's your favorite actor?
Actor. I actually don't know any actor. Like
Do you not watch movies and TV shows too often?
I don't have time for that. I actually don't
Fair enough.
at
Are
all.
you are you student, working, powerlifter? What's your day to day, sir?
So I'm pretty much let's say done with school and I'm just doing like I'm actually starting up a new business right now. So I'm also
Oh
working
wow.
with that. Like let's say a coaching business. So that's the thing with all the stress. Like 2 weeks before Wolves, I started it and now I'm pretty much starting something and pretty much just trying to get it online. So we'll see.
How do people reach out to you? Do people just out to you on social media if they want coaching from you?
From coaching wise, I've actually high demand. Yeah, when it comes to coaching, so I'm also expanding with some additional coaches in my team. Um,
Damn, dude, you're 17, Playboy. Whoa, on my team. Dude, you're 17. This is crazy. I picture like a 35-year-old man being, yes, sir. You do like a
yes,
job
sir.
review with a 35-year-old man. He's 17.
Yeah.
This is crazy, but you don't. I'll tell you this: you don't sound like you're 17. You sound very mature. You got your head and your shoulders, got a lot of goals and whatnot. But okay, so how do people reach out to you? Tell me about this.
It's either with DMs and so I was actually working with Simon. Yeah, we had a coaching business together. But now we have both decided, yeah, maybe for the future it would be better if we both just do our own thing. So I'm starting my own thing now. It would pretty much run through DMs or whatsoever, and then we would have a call and everything, and we'll just talk about any stuff, yeah, about questions and everything, and just see if we're a good suit, and then proceed with the coaching. But right now, I'm pretty much maxed out when it comes to capacity, and I still got demand. So I just said like, yeah, why not expand? So we put up a application form, and there, man, I had 107 applications from coaches. And
Dude, can you
there,
imagine? Can you like you're not going to do this, but can you imagine you're 17 and you have 107 employees? Can you
nah.
like obviously you won't take you vet them and only take a few, but this is crazy, man.
Yeah, and from there I chose like two that I want to work with, and I had some calls with them, and we'll pretty much start off as soon as possible, and yeah, pretty much expand everything. So,
And one of them is Mike T. And that's called a throwback, and that's called a
oh,
throwback, ladies and gentlemen. Can you imagine Mike T?
Mike
You'd be like,
T's
oh
he's
wow.
a goat.
Oh yeah, he's the goat. You'd be like, oh my goodness. Okay, well, this is awkward. I don't even know how to approach this email. But yeah, man, that's crazy. Well, hats off to you, man. Look at powerlifting opens up so many freaking doors. Even if even if you at some point in your life shift goals and stop powerlifting at 23, you would look back and everything you would accomplish, everything you would experience, the world, all the people you met, all the places you see all over the world, starting your own business, everything, all of this. all the conversations you have on podcasts and stuff like this, all the people you reach that hear your story, it's still worth it.
Yeah.
Still worth it. No one can ever take that from you. You'll be 45 years old, look back. I mean, it's normal. You know how many people play like college basketball, high school basketball, don't make it to the NBA and stop in their early 20s and move on in life. That's normal. But the experiences you have, it's still worth it. Still worth it, Playboy.
I
The
think you're
character.
I think in that time you're also just learning a lot of stuff that can also benefit you in your own life, I would say. Like in your life after if you would have stopped, let's say it like that.
Sure.
So yeah,
Dude,
just
the,
go on.
the distance, the discipline powerlifting teaches you, the consistency of if you're
Yeah.
consistent and disciplined, of the progress you can make, networking and pulling yourself out of your comfort zone. How many times you got to do that? Just showing up and doing all these things. You're 17 years old on this platform talking to me right now from across the world. How many 17-year-old kids got to do this? Starting your own business. This wouldn't be possible unless you're powerlifting. I
This
mean,
is actually my
everything.
second business that I'm starting now. So
Oh, dude, tell me what's your first business?
like the first business, I was actually doing it with my friend, and now I'm doing like a new thing. That's pretty much the
Oh,
second.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's worth it. It's all worth it.
Yeah.
Do you have a TV show or movie, favorite TV show or movie?
Favorite TV show or movie? Uh I don't know. Like I don't know anything about like shows or movies or anything that I would say,
What
yeah,
about, are
this
you
is
an
my
anime guy? Are you an anime dude?
and I was like in I just like from the animes that I've watched, I just sometimes like watch pretty cool episodes before like SPD or something like that. Like from Dragon Ball or something. From
Dude, I knew it. Everybody's anime these days. I knew it.
yeah.
What about music? What's your favorite music type, genre?
Like lately I've actually French, like do you know Indiala
Hip
or
hop?
something? Indila or do you know?
Is it rap music or is it like what kind of music is it?
I shouldn't know how to call it. Like her name that like produced the music is called Indila. This is like a pretty uh this is what Bob's always puts on with like this, let's say, majestic sound. I don't know.
Real Bob Matthews always puts it on?
Yeah.
No shit. And it's kind of like background type music.
Yes and no. Like there's some part that is really good for background. And they also put up some videos and they also blow up with that sound, actually.
Okay, wait a second. It's called Indala. How do I spell that? I gotta look this up.
Let me see.
Oh, you're gonna put me on something right now. I'm gonna look it up
uh
on Spotify.
I've I've got it here. Yeah, Indila. It's like Ansi Baravira. I think it's called in French. Indila.
IN.
I don't only watch for sure I only don't like listen only to that. But also in
Send me.
general,
Type it in our Instagram DM.
yeah. I just let me just send it.
Yeah. Ah, Indala.
Yeah. And
Damn.
also
So it's for anyone listening, it's IND like David ILA. Indala.
yeah,
I'm gonna
this
check
is
it
like
out.
sometimes because like before a important single or something, I don't like music that's pretty much hyping myself too much up. Yeah. But stuff like this is pretty, let's say, I would say majestic kind of thing, you know, and I'm just getting into my mood and just still have to focus. Yeah. And just after singing or something, I'm just listening to rap or something. So
Hmm. Dude, I'm gonna check this out because sometimes you do need music that's like the background to the story you're telling. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
kind of, yeah.
It's the soundtrack to the movie you're in right now. That's all. That's it. What about do you have a specific, is there like, did I ask you if you have an actor, a particular actor you like?
You asked me that, yeah, but I don't have one.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
don't know like any actor name.
Really? See, I'm like all about Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, but I might have a little more free time on my hands than you.
Like for now, it's just like gym and my business at the moment, pretty much that I'm working on at the moment.
Well, I
So
mean, you got a lot to do. You got a lot on your hands, my man. Listen, man,
hopefully, hopefully.
I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Much appreciated, sir. And if you
Thank
win
you.
up at the Open World Championships, I'll see you in person, man. It's gonna be
Hopefully,
crazy.
hopefully it would be
It's
crazy.
we'll be talking before then, though. I mean, that's not for a while, but we'll talk after Euros. We'll have you back, dude. I thank you for coming on the podcast. This is an easy talk, man. You're good at a conversation. For 17 years old, you never know when you have somebody on. But if flows freely, and you know what's cool is I was telling people when you're older, 25, 26, 27, you can go back and listen to yourself at 17.
I think that would be pretty cool. Like in 2 or 3 years, when I'm like 19 or 20, I could just listen to this podcast and think more of the situation I was in when I was like 17 or something. So
Exactly.
that would
It'll
be
be
pretty
cool.
awesome.
It'll be cool because it's like a timestamp. Not many
Yeah,
people have this. Not many people are going to have this. But in like years in the future, when you're still in your mid 20s in your prime, you could be killing it in the open, killing it with all these different experiences. You can now go back. Let's say you end up in the Olympics. Let's say you end up winning Sheffield. Let's say stuff like that. You could go back and at 17 years old, listen to yourself and talking about, winning sub juniors and blah, blah, blah. It's not many people are going to have that, man.
that's
Not many
actually
people are
pretty
going to have
awesome.
that.
uh,
But
so
we'll have
uh,
you back on as well.
hopefully, we'll talk about that then in the
We'll
future.
talk.
And
We'll keep we'll keep in contact.
yeah, I'm also pretty thankful for the opportunity to go on the podcast with you. So
For
thank you
sure,
for
my
that.
man.
And
Doors open, dude. Doors open, dude. Is there anybody you want to thank while you're on here, by the way, or sponsors or anything you want to drop?
I would actually just like to thank my family first, definitely, because they're pretty much good supporters, I would say, because they know what I'm doing. They also like what I'm doing, and they're also coming with me to international meets. So thanks to FM, and also to my close friends, yes, Simon, or I don't know. I actually don't have that many friends. I just know this.
Dude, don't worry about that. Your circle's gonna get bigger.
Yeah, Simon, Leo, or whatsoever. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, man. Listen, thanks for coming on, dude. You're a good conversation. You got a bright future ahead of you. And I'm in your corner, man. I'm a cheerleader. I got you back on this. So keep in the DMs. Good luck with everything, and we'll talk soon.
thank you. We'll do that.
And for everybody listening, as usual, please do subscribe, give us high ratings as usual. And until next time, six pack Lapadat, six up, and we are out.